Hello everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today I'll be giving a quick review of the movie Trading Places from 1983. This is the first time that I've ever actually seen this movie. I know it's crazy, but the 1980s especially tends to be a very bad decade for me when it comes to films that I have not seen, especially classic films that most people have actually seen. But before diving further into this film, I want to make sure that you know that you can follow this channel not only on YouTube, not only, of course, over at Minds.com, but also over on Odyssey. If you have not followed me over there yet, it is based in the library platform. So this is actually the library platform directly. But if you go over to Odyssey, you can find links to that in the description below. You can follow me over there. Right now I've got 481 people follow me, and it's just a really cool alt tech platform based in cryptocurrency. And as you all know, I'm a big fan of Minds.com because it is based in cryptocurrency as well. It's decentralized, and it's just a really cool place to hang out. So if you want to watch all of my videos and you're tired of YouTube, Library or Odyssey would be a great place to do it. So Trading Places. Well, let me just say first off, this movie could not be made today. There is just no doubt about it, because there are things like blackface in this film. There's, of course, excessive nudity in this movie. And yeah, there's all that stuff going on, which would have been pretty normal for a rated R comedy of the 1980s. But in the modern day 2020 world that we live in, not so much. I did find it interesting, though, that in the film, especially towards the end of the film, it deals with certain issues and subjects that are actually very prevalent today. So if anyone has been following the Wall Street Bets subreddits and everything that was happening with the GameStop stock and all that kind of stuff, it very much plays into the ending of this film. So it's been a long time since, I don't have to give a complete spoiler warning here, but essentially it is Pygmalion. The story, generally speaking, is Pygmalion, where you have two old rich dudes who want to make a bet that they can bring someone off the streets, in this case Eddie Murphy. They can basically give him all the things that he could ever need, surround him with the people that he needs to be around, and that basically his nature, or rather, scratch that, reverse it. His nurture, right? The environment that he's in will have a direct impact on him, and so therefore he won't be a criminal anymore because the environment won't allow him to be, essentially. And so they make a bet saying if they bring a poor man and make him rich, that he will be able to work very well. The other brother in this case says no, that's not going to happen. But then there's another part of this bet, which I thought was a kind of an interesting proposition, because normally Pygmalion, at least the story of that, I also have this in My Fair Lady, which is a variation, it's a musical version of Pygmalion, where in this case they add an extra twist to it, because not only is it about a poor man becoming rich, it's also about a rich man becoming poor, and saying if we take everything away from someone who has it all, will they fall to a life of crime? And so they end up setting up that character, Dan Aykroyd's character, by basically setting him up as a drug dealer and taking away all of his money and all these other things. And it ends up working. However, big twist, of course, that happens at the end of the film is that Eddie Murphy is in the restroom as they are talking. The two rich brothers are talking back and forth with each other and admitting the plan that they did, essentially betting $1 that they could get this done, and calling Eddie Murphy a very bad word. Yes, a very bad word that even during the 1980s would have been one that I'm surprised they actually slipped in the film nonetheless. But anyway, what they decide to do, what Eddie Murphy's character decides to do, is decides to find Dan Aykroyd's character and say, hey, we've both been duped. Why not get revenge? And so they do, and they go to the New York Stock Exchange, and they end up betting on orange juice concentrates or frozen oranges or something to this effect. I was very confused the first time I saw it, because I had some idea of the stocks and how it all worked, but I was very confused just by the language that was being used, and everything was happening very, very quickly. And so luckily there were some videos online that kind of helped to explain exactly the stock and what was going on at that moment. And because of those explanations, I was able to realize, ooh, wait a minute, this is exactly what just happened with Wall Street Bets, where essentially they go, so Dan Aykroyd's character, I know I'm kind of giving a whole explanation of the film, but I think it's pertinent for everything going on, because Eddie Murphy's character and Dan Aykroyd's character go, and they first start off by waiting till the orange essentially gets to a certain price, and then selling at that price, and then by doing so, lowering the price because they are selling, and essentially shorting the stock in a lot of ways. To the point where eventually a report comes out, because they know actually the truth. They actually technically have insider information that they changed when it was supposed to go to the hands of the two rich guys who were trying to control the orange concentrate market, essentially, and end up then at that point, once the news comes out and everyone starts selling, they start buying those stocks so that they can then, of course, make up for all the sales they made earlier at a higher price, meaning that they made millions and millions of dollars. And so it's interesting because the heroes of this story are actually acting in a lot of ways like the hedge funds did in the more recent Wall Street Bets fiasco. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Obviously, you have kind of a mixture of these characters because on the one hand, the rich people wanted to essentially use insider trading information to buy a bunch of stock to sell later on at a higher price. And obviously that was illegal. Whereas in this case, you have two guys who are essentially conning them, and to the point where they lose hundreds of millions of dollars. And of course, they're the good guys because of that very reason. And hey, I thought it was a pretty damn good time. So let me go ahead and just go into my review of the film itself. So it does, as I said, star Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy. You also have Jamie Lee Curtis as another main character here as well. And it's a pretty damn good film. I always say this when it comes to films that feature a lot of excessive nudity. It was completely unnecessary. It adds nothing to the plot. It's just one of those things that obviously was very prevalent, I think more so in 1980s films. But at the end of the day, I think that it's something that kind of takes away from the rest of the film because it really doesn't add anything to the story. It is more of just like distracting element, and I never understand why stories end up doing it. The direction was very good by John Landis. I thought the script was very well done by Timothy Harris and Herschel Weingrod, and overall the acting too was fantastic. It's hard to believe that Eddie Murphy was around 22 years old when they made this film. So it's like one of the first really big roles of his career, at least to my knowledge. And so it's kind of interesting to see all of this stuff happens. In fact, it goes on to say that in 1988, Bellamy and Amesh reprised their characters for Murphy's comedy film Coming to America. I find that interesting. Ooh, so they kind of keep it in the same universe in that way. That's actually kind of cool. I like that a lot. It says here that Harris conceived the outline for Trading Places in the early 1980s after encountering two wealthy brothers who were enraged in an ongoing rivalry with each other. He and his writing partner Weingrod developed the idea as a project to star Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder. When they were unable to participate, Landis cast Aykroyd, with whom they had previously worked, and a young but increasingly popular Murphy in his second feature film. So this was the second time, the second feature role for him. That's actually kind of pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. The fact that I could totally see Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder actually doing these characters. I think it would have actually fit their shtick. It would have fit their characters very nicely. And in fact, it's interesting because in the movie Silver Streak, there's a moment when Gene Wilder actually does blackface as well. So it's kind of interesting to see some of these, like, I guess these connections here. But Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy, I think, work very well together. But yeah, overall, this film was very enjoyable. I think it had all those right pieces to it. I do honestly believe, though, that, again, when it comes to the nudity and the excessive cursing and stuff like that, it's unnecessary. Though I think the cursing is a little bit more forgivable only because it does help to kind of show the change that Eddie Murphy's character is going through, because he starts off as a guy in the streets cursing up a storm, and then as he enters into more sophisticated life, he starts to realize his cursing doesn't have a place where he is, and so he starts to censor himself. So I thought that kind of added to the story a bit, but in the end, I think that it's a product of its time. It could not be made today, but overall, very enjoyable, and I love the fact that it very much connects to a lot of things going on in our modern day life, especially with Wall Street Bets. So I had to give this film a grade. I would give it a B+. Again, it was a lot of fun, great 1980s comedy, and I'm glad that I was finally able to watch it. Was able to watch it with the wife, which was fun to do, especially since she was a little confused also about the ending. So we got to watch a video after together explaining the stocks and exactly what they were doing to make the money that they did and to cost the amount of money to the two rich dudes. Again, I thought that was actually very, very cool. But anyway, those are my thoughts on this film. Have you ever seen Trading Places? I'm sure most of you have, but hey, I'm getting there, guys. I'm slowly scratching things off. In fact, I've actually watched several movies the last several days, and so I'm going to try and record some reviews sometime this week. I actually just finished up War Games today, so I have some reviews and some thoughts on that. I also finished The Great Outdoors as well. So yeah, I'm slowly filling up my 1980s film knowledge. Now have scratched off 3 films, and again, reviews for those other movies will be coming out sometime this week. Thank you guys very much for your love and for your attention. Again, please support me over on Odyssey if you wish. You can get free cryptocurrency over there just by watching videos, interacting. You got awesome people over there like Young Ripa, RK Outpost is over there as well, and tons of other people. So if you want to check us out over there, please feel free to do so and support us as well, because obviously YouTube sucks. So you guys are amazing. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge shout out to all of my Patreon members: Albertus Magnus, Ali C83, Andrew Hoyle, Animation Commentator, Brian P, Dion, Divex, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father, Father Damian Cook, Garrett Searles, The Honky Chonky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, It's a Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jacob Juice, Jay, Jeff Toon, Jonathan Carney, Laura Story, the Modern Major General, Mag Jackson, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Benden, Tina Bojan, and Tina B, the Empress of the Universe. Thank you so very much for being my Patreon members. And a huge shout out also to my Subscribe Star members: Stan 4, John B, Perpetual Punster, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, Darkstar 57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., Dean Heiss / the new number 2, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nebanon G. Adams, and the K-Man. Thank you all very much for being my Subscribe Star members, and to all people who support the channel. It really does mean a lot. If you want to support the channel and have your name shouted out, please make sure that you join on Patreon or Subscribe Star today. If you sign up at the $5 or up level, you also get access to exclusive giveaways, including for 4K and Blu-ray titles. At the $10 level, you get all of that, plus you get access to an exclusive podcast that I do with John the Flick Pick Flickinger. There's actually currently an episode that I made public on the channel right now, so you can go ahead and check that out. If you want to have more access to even more episodes and more content and the ability to ask us questions, please feel free to check that out as well. And if you join at the $25 level and up, the Chosen of Valhalla level, you get to have all of those things, plus you get a free t-shirt that first month that you sign up for it, and every month you will be able to access the Chosen of Valhalla live stream, where me and my Chosen just talk for about 2, 3, sometimes even 4 hours about whatever it is that they want to talk about. So check all of that out in the links in the description below. You are all amazing and beautiful people, and we all have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless.